Hey everybody, this is Larry. This is day 7 of the Leetcode Day Challenge, and we do not have a weekly premium yet. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join me on Discord. Let me know what you think about today's poem. First of all, thank you for everybody who watched yesterday's video, and let me know that I have some audio issue. I think a lot of it was, to be honest, I mentioned it in some videos, but I don't know if I mentioned it. But my USB hub was having issues, so I ordered a new one. I think the old one was unpowered, so I think at some point something is drawing too much power. I don't know if this is too nerdy or whatever. Skip ahead a little bit if you don't care. But yeah, I think it was just drawing too much power, so I finally have my backup USB-C docking station or whatever with power plugging into the wall. So hopefully this should address it. If you do notice some issues, let me know. But actually, I mean, I wasn't mindful about it, to be honest, because I think I was like, I should have been a little bit more careful because I saw that my keyboard, which is plugged into the same thing, was going in and out. So like, I even might have complained about it a little bit in that my typing was just like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I type some stuff and it doesn't show up, right? So I should have like made the connection. But thank you again for everyone leaving a comment about that. Hopefully it should be addressed. If it happens again, don't let me know because yesterday I was aware, but at some point, but you know, there are a lot of things I don't pay attention to. So feel free to let me know. Today is another day. I am way tired. I guess I've been saying that every day because I don't know if I'm not really on a training program per se, or at least not one specified by anyone else. I'm just on the basically I run every day, and a lot of those days are on tired legs. So was one of my goals, and I don't know when this will happen because I'm not really like, there's no deadline for per se, but I would like to run a 50K, an ultra marathon at some point. And it turns out that I'm in New York City. That's not the surprising part, hopefully. But I'm in New York City, and it turns out that the perimeter of Manhattan is about, I think there's a couple of routes, but like something like 35 to 38 miles, depending on how you count it, which is, basically an ultra marathon. So I'm kind of training myself to be able to handle that load. And part of that is just getting to the point, because basically when you do an ultra, and I'm generalizing a little bit, when you do an ultra marathon of that length, ideally, I mean, for obvious reasons, when you go into it, you start fresh, right? You rest up, you eat well enough that all your muscles and everything has everything it needs, right? As much as it can. It's in the beginning because it will deplete over time for obvious reasons. Yeah, but now my training is such that instead of beginning in fresh, I'm beginning like maybe a little like very tired, very energy depleted, so that I can kind of work out two things. One is just seeing how my muscles, and just like making sure that my muscle can hold up under duress, and beginning at that duress level, so that I don't have to train like, the beginning when I'm feeling fresh. Like I know I could do stuff when I'm fresh. So yeah. And then the other thing is just the mental aspect, right? Of just seeing it being tough. Like, especially, I think this is a thing that I'm going to address. And this is a little bit of a preview of a video that I'll do in my other channel at some point about doing hard things, is that the hard part is that in a lot of things in life, you don't burn the boats, right? I mean, I don't think this is a real story, but the legend goes that Cortez, when I think a Spanish what did he go, conquistador or whatever, but basically like a Spanish explorer or maybe conqueror or whatever, landed on South America somewhere or something like this, and as soon as they land on shore, they burn the boats. Why did he burn the boats? So that there's no turning back. There's only one way out, and it is to keep going. And I think an ultra marathon and training for ultra marathons in general, or training for even marathons, really, training for anything, is that a lot of times the hard part is that we don't burn the boats, right? The hard part is that every step that I take, every minute, every second, every 10 minutes, every whatever, I'm like, it's so easy to stop now, right? There's no consequences. There's no one to answer to. You know, you can just take a break. You can stop, and that's it, right? No one's gonna be like, oh, you know, because in some way it doesn't really matter. Where am I going with this? Why am I talking about this, right? I think, I think that I have been thinking about how to frame this in terms of motivation. I think one of the most common questions that I get, and this is why I need to put this in a separate video at some point, but one of the most common questions that I get is about motivation, right? And about how, like, how do you keep going? Leetcode is being one of them, obviously, but it applies to, hopefully by now you realize that I'm talking about ultra marathons, but I'm also, I don't think it was that subtle, but just in case you want to know, I'm drawing that parallel, and hopefully it doesn't cut out, because that'd be really funny if I'm just cutting out. But I'm drawing that parallel with Leetcode, right? Like, how do you do Leetcode for a profound period of time, right? To me, to be honest, number one is that I actually enjoy it. I find it fun, right? Nothing, like some people find video games fun, and people play like, what's it called, Dark Soul or something, right? There are a lot of video games where it's just very frustrating, but some people find it fun because you find it fun, it's easy to do, right? But that aside, the answer that I always ask, or I guess I answer the question with a question, which is, what are your goals? What do you actually want? What do you actually care about, right? Because once you distill the things that you actually care about, then it's not motivation anymore, right? It is just, this is the path that I have to take to become who I want to be, right? And for me, I get like, and I'm talking about Leetcode sometimes, but it applies to other stuff as well, because I know that not that long ago I got a question about, like, when I used to work in finance. I don't talk about my life that much because I don't like to be one of those people who like name drop stuff and like, oh, Larry, the 3,000 rated engineer, has something to say. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And you probably hear me say that a lot. One is that, like, I feel like, if you were me, you would have been me, right? Like, so, I don't think just doing the same things I do would get you to the same place necessarily, right? But yeah, I don't like to name drop. But anyway, when I was working in finance, I was doing upwards of 80 to 100 hours a week, just because there was just so much work to do. When I joined it, it was more of a startup kind of thing. It's a startup analogy nowadays because everyone knows what a startup is. But back in those days, I am old enough, so back in those days, people didn't know what a startup is or what a hedge fund is. So I don't know. It's just more of an analogy. But in any case, there was just so much work to do, and I went on to do some pretty fun things that kind of taught me a lot. But the question was, like, how was I able to kind of grind that out? One is probably, to be honest, I was much younger. I don't think I could do it today. I just don't have the energy for it, or well, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. What matters to you, right? And I don't, But back then, I was, fresh out of college. Let's just say the pocketbooks were a little bit tighter. And I think nowadays it seems quaint in the sense that everyone's talking about work-life balance in tech industries and stuff like this. And of course, as someone who is older, I definitely applaud and hope that people find the balance that they need, right? Because a lot of the work that is done in tech these days, it's not about grind. I mean, it's not only about grind, right? It is very heavy brain work, right? And it's about being able to do something that other people cannot in thinking outside the box in some way, right? And maybe, like, it sounds very cliche or whatever, but so, yeah, you have to figure out how to work optimally with your brain, right? So anyway, but that's a side. I've been digressing a lot. But for me, when I was young, it's just that I didn't go to an Ivy. In finance, basically everyone went to an Ivy League school. I got lucky in a story that I'm not going to tell today because this video is already pretty long, probably. But it just, for me, like, that was the culture. Everyone worked hard for sure, and everyone was smarter than me, and they still work harder than me, right? I think that was the one thing that I learned in high school. One of the benefits of going to a nerdy school, if you will, was that it was my first time experiencing that like I couldn't coast on being quote unquote smart. I have to work hard. So to me, my answer is just that it was never a choice for me, like I was surrounded by people way more qualified, way more smarter, and way more hardworking even at that point. So the only thing I can do is at least keep up. So I never really considered a choice. I never really considered an alternative. I was already a lucky guy given a chance in a place that I don't feel like I belong. Not that I didn't. It's just like in an imposter syndrome kind of way. And back then, even more so than now, a lot more so than now. Though tech back then also had this problem of just being like credentialisms, right? Meaning that people, if you went to an Ivy Plus, that is where, as the saying goes, no one ever got fired for hiring a Harvard grad, right? Or something like this. So that's just the way it is, right? So for me, I don't know that I had motivation. My motivation is making that money, and I didn't. And even at that point, there was just no tech jobs because I am that old that I didn't have that many choices in a sense. I mean, looking back, I probably had more choices than I did, but they were all in finance, and there was no competition as it is now to kind of just be like, like if you go from one job where you work 80 hours to another job, you work 80 hours. And it was and just to be clear, like I like the people and everything. It's just how finance worked back then. I have a lot of stories about that too, but maybe not today. But that's the thing, right? Because for me at that point, you can say that, I was young. I didn't even get paid that well. I mean, just to be clear, my first job out of college and my second job out of college, I guess, probably interns get paid more on a per month basis or whatever it is these days, at a big tech. So, right? But it was comfortable. Like, I had well, interns right now are also very comfortable. So I guess that's, but another side story is that I wish I bought real estate, but I didn't have that much money though. But yeah, I don't know. So that's the answer about motivation, is finding out what you want, right? And for me, that was my first taste of being secure financially, right? Not everybody has that for sure, right? Like, I mean, some people, maybe they're lucky with, their parents, or maybe they have an internship, or I don't know, they have money saved up in some way. I'm always surprised these days, in a good way, that a lot of younger people just like have a lot of money saved up, not all of them, of course. Some of them are just less fortunate. And the thing about personal finance that I talk about sometimes, and there's research about this, and I don't want to get into it that deeply, is that a lot of it is just based on income, right? An income that you may or may not have 100% agency about, right? So yeah. So and at that time, that was what I wanted. That was what I was pursuing. The sense of security, the sense of financial security, and there really no alternatives, right? I mean, maybe I did, but in my mind, I didn't. Like I didn't think there. And you know, so that's how I did it. Yeah, and there are a lot of lucky bounces along the way, of course, but definitely, and wrapping it all back up, talking about Leetcode or even me running, you know, um, that's why I always go back to your goals and focuses, right? On all my videos, the ones on my other channel as well, is always about your goals, right? When you have a purpose, when you have a desire, when you have a want, you don't let anything get in your way. Whether it's Leetcode or it's marathon or whatever, right? Like running the marathon, are you a different person if you ran it in 3 hours and 58 minutes versus 4 hours and 2 minutes? No, right? Like, there are a lot of random fluctuations about that, and maybe you would feel a little bit more accomplished, but you're still the same person. You still put in all the hard work, and and if you keep on putting in the hard work, you'll probably get a little bit better too. Same thing with Leetcode, right? Does it matter if your rating is at 2198 versus 2202 or whatever, right? Right? Not really. But and I don't know what the levels are these days, but yeah. But you get the idea, right? You're still who you are, and if you are able to keep working at it and get better, then eventually it'll go up. It doesn't matter if you had a one point contest. Your rating is just a sort of a weighted average over time, right? But the grind depends on what you want, right? If you want to get a job, then your rating does not tell you how to get a job, right? It's just your problem solving skill does. A rating might be something that you use as feedback to be like, oh, there's something I need to work on A, B, and C, or maybe like, oh, I'm not fast enough in certain things or something like this, right? Use it as feedback. Don't use it as, or focus on what you want. You just like, are you really a different person when your rating is 2198 versus 2202 or whatever? Probably not, right? I don't know. And I would say firsthand experience, you'll be very disappointed if you think like people will respect you more. No one cares about your rating for the most part. So yeah. Anyway, all right. This is an 18-minute video. I probably need to cut this down at some point and put in the other one. But hopefully that was useful. Let's take a look at today's problem. My apologies. This was a very long intro, but yeah. 648, replace words. Sorry, I'm gonna get some water because I just talked a lot. In English, we have a concept called root, which can be followed by some other word to form another longer word. Let's call this word derivative. For example, the word help is followed by the word for. We can form a derivative of helpful. I guess so. That's okay. Given a dictionary consists of roots and a sentence consisting of words separated by spaces, we place all derivatives in the sentence with the root forming it. If the derivative can be placed by more than one root, we place it with the root that has the shortest length. We place it with the root that has, okay. Return the sentence after replacement. The cattle was rattled by the battery. They really had a chance to like, the cattle was rattled by the battled. Maybe not that one. The cattle was tattled and rattled and meddled. I don't know. But man, they could have rhymed this, but they didn't. I don't know. The cat was rat by the bat. Okay. I mean, it's clear that this one, you're basically saying for each word, find the prefix that exists in dictionary, right? And of course, this is a job for a try. try is literally the nick. I don't know if it's nickname. The alternate name maybe is just the prefix tree, right? I'm just gonna type this here. So, excuse me, talk too much. But yeah, so this is for you to Google. I'm not gonna go over that much, but basically the idea is just that you have a root node, and then for the edges are actually the characters, and then you just go to different nodes and you try to find prefix. Pretty straightforward stuff. In theory, I mean, if you haven't done it before, you have to get better at it. It's definitely something that I've seen asked and such. So yeah, so definitely do that. The way that I usually write it is with class and nodes. Yeah, maybe here, and then self dot edges is equal to just a hash table. And then try we can have we have self dot root is equal to a new node, and then yeah, and then we can have an add function, right, for a word. So then now we have a node, we start at the root, and yeah, so then for C in word, remember each character is an edge. So we go, okay, node dot edges of C is what we want to access, but it may not exist. So we say if C is in node dot edge, or if it's not in it, oops, then we create a node dot edges of C is equal to node, and then we can say node is equal to, so then we traverse the tree to the bottom. Yeah, I think for this we want to get the full word. So just having matching a prefix is not enough. So we want to have something that tells you that this node is the end of a tree. There are a couple of ways on it. I think by notation in the past, is actually used the dollar sign. So you would actually have a dollar sign edge, and an edge that has a dollar sign means that, you know. But you can also just have, you know, with the magic of object on the programming, you can also say word end or something, end of word maybe. And then now after you traveled for the entire word, then node the end of word is equal to true or something like this. And of course you can have accessors and mutators if you would like. I am lazy today. And then yeah, and then maybe you can have a construction. If you really like, you probably can have something like a dictionary thing here, right? Then now you can do for word in dictionary, self dot add word, right? Pretty straightforward. I mean, yeah. And then now we have a search, but this is a special search, right? It's a search prefix. So we have a word. So for each word, we don't find the root, if you say. So maybe find root is a better thing, at least. I mean, I think it does the same thing. It just, I think find root is actually a worse name because that's specific to the problem that we're solving. Technically, we want to create an abstract data type, so search prefix maybe is a little bit better. I don't know. It doesn't. But yeah. But that's basically what we're using it for. And we start at the root again, and then now for C in word for each character, we want to say. Right now, I'm just checking that it has at least one match, or what to do if there's no matches. Do you just do nothing? So shortest length. Like, is it guaranteed that there is a root? I'm trying to find it, but maybe I'm reading too fast. It doesn't say it, right? All right, well. Yeah, I don't know what to say, to be honest. But I don't know. I guess we'll either yeah, we'll just do an assertion or something. It'll be fine. But for C in Word, that means that if C is not in node.edges, then we just return Word maybe. I don't know if this is a good default thing. You can also like just for an error if you like. But yeah, but node is, you go to node.edges of C. But even, yeah, maybe we can also check if node.end of Word. No, we want to do it after this, just because this makes more sense. If this is true, then we just return answer. And then if it goes through the entire word, then we also return word maybe. I don't know that this is a good default thing, to be frank. But also I forget that end start event C, and this should be the string representing it. I don't know. I don't know if this is a good thing, but yeah. So then now all we have to do is, you know, T is equal to try of dictionary. And then now for word in sentence.split, and we have maybe answer again here, right? Answer.append, try.search prefix, or find prefix maybe is a better, I don't know. And then we just return join answer. Alright, looks good. Let's give it a submit. Again, keeping in mind that our default, I'm not sure about this, but so if we get a wrong answer, we get a wrong answer. But yeah, alright, looks good. Yeah, 15, 29 day streak. Feels good, I think, right? Double check something real quick. Is my audio okay? I feel like it's a little bit low. Oh, it is because I'm not on the mic. Alright, well, hello, hello. Okay, well, now I just changed it, so it should be better again. Hopefully the quality is good, but I mean, either way, that is the quality you're going to get in the next couple of days because I'm traveling. But yeah. Alright, let's go over the complexity really quickly. Yeah, I'm glad I got my USB issue fixed right after I'm traveling, but yeah, let's go over this complexity, right? So for each word in dictionary we add, and of course we only look at each character in the word, so this is going to be linear in the size of the dictionary in the total number of characters, right, on the add, and just the dictionary usage in general. And then on each query, which is the sentence, we also split it into, so this is linear, but for each word, which is O of L for each number of characters in each word, this is also just examining each character. So this is going to be O of N, or if you prefer, O of D plus S, I don't know, for dictionary and sentence. Yeah, this is my try class. This is my, well, just my general setup. And that's all I have for this one. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Stay good, stay healthy to good mental health. Let me know in the comments what you think about my intro. But yeah, stay good, stay healthy to good mental health. I'll see y'all later and take care. Bye bye.